It was supposed to be a fun road trip with my college friends. We had planned to drive through the night, taking turns behind the wheel, with the promise of reaching our destination by sunrise. We had booked a room at the Midnight Motel, a quaint, old-fashioned place that seemed straight out of a 1950s movie. Little did we know that this night would turn into a chilling encounter with the paranormal. We arrived at the Midnight Motel just as the clock struck midnight. We were tired and ready to crash for the night, so we didn't think much of the motel's somewhat dilapidated appearance. It had a certain rustic charm that we found endearing. After checking in, we made our way to our room on the second floor. As soon as we settled in, we heard faint, strange noises in the hallway. Soft footsteps and whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. We joked about the motel's reputation for being haunted, dismissing it as urban legend. I decided to stay up for a while, studying for an upcoming exam. My friends fell asleep, their snores providing some comfort in the otherwise oppressive atmosphere. But then, the lights in the room flickered and went out. I grabbed my phone and used its flashlight to continue studying. Hours passed and the motel's surroundings grew quiet. I was engrossed in my studies, but an unsettling feeling settled in the pit of my stomach. Then, it happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flicker, a shadowy movement. My heart pounded as I turned to look, my phone's flashlight trembling in my hand. There, in the dimly lit corner of the room, a shapeless dark mass seemed to hover in the air and pulsated for a quick while. My breath caught in my throat as I stared at it in disbelief. It wasn't a trick of the light or a product of my tired eyes. I slowly backed away, my body paralyzed with fear. It felt like an eternity passed, though it was likely just a matter of seconds. Panic coursed through my veins, and I knew I had to wake up my friends. With trembling hands, I reached for the nearest one, shaking them urgently. My voice quivered as I whispered, "Wake up! You need to see this." My friends awoke groggily, wondering what had disturbed their sleep. I pointed to the corner, but when they turned on their phone flashlights, there was nothing there. They accused me of playing a prank and tried to go back to sleep. I couldn't continue my study and thought of organizing my stuff and going back to bed. But as I stood near the table, I saw the shadow again pulsating in the corner. Terror consumed me, and I screamed for my friends to wake up. They saw the figure too. The room had become a chamber of terror. My friends and I huddled together, our eyes fixed on the shadowy figure that seemed to have taken a more defined form in the corner of the room. It was no longer a mere shapeless mass. It had acquired an unsettling humanoid outline. As we watched in horrified fascination, the figure extended what appeared to be an elongated, shadowy arm towards me. Its fingers resembled bony, elongated claws, swaying as if beckoning me closer. My heart felt like a drum, beating wildly against my chest. Goosebumps prickled our skin as the presence of an unknown force grew more palpable with each passing moment. Whispers filled the room, indecipherable but undeniably sinister. The clock on the wall struck 2 a.m. with a resonating chime, as if signaling an ominous turning point in our ordeal. The sound seemed to echo, its vibrations sending shivers down our spines. Time had lost its meaning, and the dread that had gripped us intensified. We realized that this wasn't a simple case of a fleeting nightmare. This was real, and it was happening right before our eyes. We were trapped in a room with an unknown figure that defied all logic and reason. My friends and I exchanged terrified glances, wordlessly conveying our shared fear and the urgency of our situation. The shadowy figure continued to hover, its presence casting a suffocating darkness over our once mundane motel room. We knew we had to get out, but the hallway outside felt like a gateway to the unknown, and the whispers grew louder, taunting us. It was a chilling, heart-stopping moment, and as the clock continued to tick, we knew that our only chance at survival was to leave the room, to escape the clutches of whatever haunted the Midnight Motel. With trembling hands and racing hearts, we made a collective decision to confront the terror head-on and flee from the room that had become our nightmare. We didn't stop until we reached our car. Breathless and trembling, we didn't waste any time. We left the Midnight Motel behind, our road trip adventure turning into a haunting memory. As we drove away, we couldn't help but wonder what had really happened that night, and whether the Midnight Motel had a darker history than we had ever imagined. If you find this content entertaining, please consider giving it a thumbs up by clicking the like button below. It really helps support the channel. And if you haven't already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update from us. Thanks so much for being a part of our YouTube community here.